Welcome to the Finding HAViK podcast. This is episode 1. And what this podcast is going to be about is talking to individuals in the community that have skills that separate them from everybody else.
Yeah, whether they may be like ranchers, hunters, first responders, they have a skill that kind of sets them aside.
Yeah, they don't have to go to the grocery store every single day to buy groceries or call that plumber to fix something that is broken in their house.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle I don't live, so I'm really excited to meet people.
Dom is going to learn so much on this podcast.
So many things.
And sometimes it's messy, and that actually starts with this first podcast where we have Gabe Smith on here that has a new company called Precision Resilience. He's also part of the Reno PD.
Yeah, he served in the military, has had some messiness in life and struggles, and he actually got really raw and honest with us about what those struggles were like.
Yeah, mental health is a big part of this one. He's had his battles with it himself, and he talks about a lot of friends that he's had that have lost that battle. And Precision Resilience is going to be having the goal of tackling that and trying to give back to that community, especially with the first responders.
Yeah, and he's really honing into mental health, physical training, gun, fire training with that company.
That doesn't know
stuff I don't know about.
Yeah, so physical training and stuff is in there as well. We're going to get all the way into it from the very beginning when he was a teenager and all the way to where he is now. So hope you enjoy the podcast.
They lost the tools, they lost the way. Now they're calling for help every damn day. While some still sharpen steel and mine, step out of the flock. This is Finding HAViK.
All right. So first of all, thank you, Gabe, for coming out, hanging out with us. First official podcast guest for us.
Nice, dude. I'm stoked.
Yeah. Yeah. We got Jake Dalton as well here, Bobby Baum, and then me, Holland.
Jake Holland.
Yeah. I guess we're just going to go Holland and Dalton. So you got two Jakes on this side. So
that gets confusing.
Yeah. I feel like everywhere I've gone, like Jake was like a really popular name, like for like our generation. And so everywhere I go, I think when I was at Senka Sen, I think there was like 8 Jakes. So it was just, you just had to like call each other by your last names. And then I worked at GE for a while, and there was another Jake that I went to college with. And when I got there, he was there before me. So he was like, I'm Jake, you're Jake Jr. And I was like, okay, fine. Like, I'll accept it. And so I was Jake Jr. for like 9 months. And then GE used to do these competitions that were like to get you like ergonomic competitions. They got you out of your seats, like moving and stuff and stretching or whatever. Right. And so, but there were team competitions, and they legitimately like kept track. You got an award at the end of it. Damn. And so Jake had a team and I had a team, and I challenged him for the title of Jake, and he like accepted the challenge. And so then we did this whole competition, and the whole entire GE company out in Minden was like in on it. And we ended up making this big WWE belt on the plasma cutter there that said like Jake, like official Jake and stuff. Jake. And then we made a little name tag that said Jake Jr. with like flowers and butterflies. And my team won. So I officially won it, but they did a huge like announcement, like company-wide announcement with like 300 people there or whatever. And everybody knew what they were talking about because it was like spread across the company. It was pretty cool.
Jake Jr. sounds like a Nickelodeon show.
Jake Jr.? Yeah. Like Nick Jr.?
Something like that. It just sounds like it is not a title you really want to rock.
How often you guys are you Jake from State Farm?
Oh, yeah. Or Jake the Snake. You get that one a lot too.
You probably can't go anywhere in khakis.
No, dude. I started wearing khakis as like a rebellion, but
how'd that go?
Not good. Actually, I didn't. They make too much noise.
I was gonna say they make noise.
Yeah, they make too much noise. Dude, my thighs, man, like I burn out a hole in every single pair of jeans I've ever had in between my thighs. It's true.
You find like Vaseline down there.
When I'm hunting, for sure, dude. Like you got to do what you got to do.
Oh yeah. Chafing sucks.
Chafing is the worst.
That is awful.
Sweet. So Gabe, so you're Reno PD. You've had like a really crazy background. So I definitely want to talk about kind of where you're at now compared to like where you kind of came from. And then you're starting a new company called Precision Resilience. And I definitely want to get into that and kind of how we're working together with HAViK. So let's just kind of start with kind of the beginning. You know, where'd you grow up? Kind of what were you into?
So grew up here, Reno, Nevada. Born and raised, and went to high school at Reno High. Only did about a year there, and then finished out at Washoe High. Got my GED. Unfortunately, partying and doing all that stuff was way more important to me.
Yeah.
So ended up, got out of high school, got my GED, and spent a lot of time trying to figure out what the hell I was doing with my life. In the meantime, I was getting arrested a bunch, doing lots of drinking, lots of drugs. Me and my buddy were pretty awful together.
Were you guys like rebellious though? Like, was it like you were trying to get in trouble, or you're just like the things you were doing were
we were
not accepted
so we were doing some pretty awful stuff that, like, even looking back now, like, I still feel bad, like stealing money from places and people, basically to fund like our habits. Turns out this friend actually never got out of the lifestyle, and he's been in prison for the last 16 years now.
That sucks.
So probably going to be getting out in the next couple of years. But yeah, he just couldn't get away from the drugs and the alcohol.
And you guys are in two different paths.
Oh, yeah. And for me, it was, you know, when I was growing up, like doing all those things, I always felt awful at the time doing the stuff, like stealing the money. There was another time where, man, we had a paintball gun and we would just drive around town and freaking just blast people. And it was not nice at all. Like, probably caused people some injury.
It's funny, like the moral compass that's like inside of you when you think about those kind of things and stuff. But you had something that happened a while back, right? Didn't you have like somebody like roll up on you and like shoot you with like an airsoft gun or something like that?
Those little gel ones.
Yeah.
I was like walking back to my office and there were some kids in a car and they just like reached out. I was like, oh, I'm going to die. And I just got hit with these little jelly beans. And I was like,
Did they hurt at all?
no, I was just like, it was underwhelming. I was like, God, this is going to be a great way to go. And then it was jelly beans.
I mean, I think that's a crazy part about nowadays and stuff. Like if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, like that could have easily been like a legitimate situation, right?
Well, the guy that was like pointing the little fake gun at me was like just dreadlocks. And I was like, oh, son of a jelly
Thought
bean.
for sure it was the end.
I was like, this is like, I was like, my dad's going to be so pissed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
But
tough.
everything worked out. It was just,
jelly beans. I was like,
yeah.
But yeah, like the moral compass and stuff of those kind of situations and stuff, like
Yeah.
you had something like deep down inside of you.
It was always in the back of my mind. Like, I just didn't feel good doing any of it. But, you know, it's that saying, like, who you surround yourself with, you're just going to kind of follow that. And both me and him were just bad for each other. We just pushed each other in the worst possible direction of doing things.
Yeah, like dogs do to each other, right? And they'll
Pack
up and go.
Yep. So then finally, I had one night where I drank way too much, decided to drive, and hit my both right side tires on the curb, blew them out. I was like way up Mayan Road, almost near like where you start coming up onto Verdi. And just sat there and just finished my drink and stayed in the car, passed out. Actually got pretty sick from carbon monoxide poisoning because it was wintertime and I had the heater going the whole time. But woke up with fire department knocking on the window. And actually, they called the cops because obviously they could tell I was drunk. There was booze in the car. I had a warrant in Virginia City for another drunken deal I had done up in Virginia City. So I went to jail, and that was where I made the decision to join the military because I was like, at this point, I'm either going to keep going down this same road and end up dead or in prison, or I need to completely remove myself from all these people and change my path. So yeah, when I was 21, joined the Army, which just happened to be like 2 months after 9/11 too. So joined.
That was like the first thing you thought of was Army?
Yeah.
Was like any other
Well,
options?
so I was sitting in jail in Virginia City and an Army commercial came on. And I think at the time it was like the Army of One was their catchphrase.
Yeah. And I'm sure it was running pretty hard at that time period.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I just made the choice to do it and went to basic training, and being 21 years old, I'm like the old guy there. You know, they're calling me grandpa. I'm 21. Everybody else is, you know, barely 17 or 18.
Yeah.
And then immediately went to Iraq. That kicked off early 2003, and I was there when, you know, they dropped the bombs in Baghdad, and then we rolled across the border from Kuwait and just convoyed north. Spent 15 months there, and that was for me like a huge eye opener, because you come from, you know, the States where we have so much that's available to us, and then as a 21-year-old kid, you go over there and you see this third world country and how people are living.
And you realize how fucked up it could be, right?
I was like, man, like this is fucked. People are, you know, living in mud huts. Like, I saw kids walking around with, you know, missing legs, missing limbs because, you know, they had already been casualties of war. Yeah, it was just an extreme eye opener. It didn't like totally, you know, solve all my problems. And I was like, all right, this is amazing and I'm going to change the world. But
yeah,
it definitely made me more, I guess, grateful for what we have here in the States.
Yeah, I feel like nowadays a lot of people need that realization and stuff about how good that we do actually have it and stuff. And I'm like definitely guilty of that. Like there's like times like obviously I live in a great place and have a great family and stuff, and then I'm like still wanting more.
Yeah.
And then there's like times I have to like why you're being such an idiot, right? You just accept, like be okay with what you have, or be at least happy with it instead of like trying to drive yourself to be more or have more, or like you gotta, you know, try to get ahead of even further and stuff. Like at some point you just gotta accept it, you know. And I think you see that and a lot of times even like with people that are like super rich, right? They're not happy either, right? It's just a perspective thing of just like missing
100%.
that stuff. Dropping, I'm sure, a 21-year-old into a war zone is a pretty shocking way to get that realization, I guess, right?
I couldn't imagine being 18. You know, I only had like 3 years on some of those kids, but, you know, they're fresh, like out of high school and haven't experienced really anything.
It might be the opposite though, right? Like if you have 3 years of like kind of
true.
being on your own and like free spirit and just like doing whatever you want to do to a bad degree on your case, right? And then going to that, it might have been more of an oh shit for you than an 18-year-old that just left his family, right? And just went straight into war, where they like maybe more conscious of like, oh, I'm going to go to war. They don't even know how good they have it because they had never had an opportunity to get like that free will portion of like getting out of the house and making your own decisions other than joining the army. That would have been their first official like free will decision, right? So
yeah. Because for me, like before I went in, I was sleeping on friends' couches. Like I was sleeping in my car at times because I was so bad that my parents had pretty much told me like, you need to get out and figure it out on your own. Because I was pretty messed up, which understandable, and I'm grateful for them doing it now because it like pushed me in that direction to make that choice.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's definitely like that's definitely an interesting thing though, right? Because like if I were to do it now, knowing everything that I have, it would hit me, I feel like, way harder than
because this has been the norm for like so long.
I'm comfortable. Like I go to bed at night pretty much relatively nice, Jake. Relatively speaking, like I know that I'm safe, you know, like I have protection and stuff in the house and stuff, but like I'm not worried about somebody.
Rockets aren't going to be flying, mortars aren't going to be dropping on your head.
Yeah. So like I can't even, I mean, I didn't serve and haven't been in that at all, but like I thank those guys and you and stuff every single day because that's why we don't have it here, right? It's because we take care of it in other ways and stuff. True. So it's just a perspective thing. Like I like to think that I have good perspective sometimes, but I know sometimes I have absolute dog shit.
Well, I think it's easy to like get kind of complacent in your environment, right? Like it's just something we're so used to that it's easy to like not be grateful for it, right? Because it's just the norm.
I think that's like like the entitlement side, like when people are like just bashing everything about America and like not being able to really go see somewhere else and see like how lucky everyone is, especially like young people. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, there's no other place that kind of like makes life this easy, especially if you just show up and work. Like, you can kind of go out and just try anything you want.
Yeah, I think also it's like for me though, I think the only reason I have even a remote sense of that is because everybody around me growing up were like worked their ass off for everything that they had. So it was like loggers, farmers, ranchers,
So
and
you
stuff.
saw it, like
It was,
the
I
hard
saw
work.
a different perspective of hard work, and that like life doesn't just give you whatever you want, or like it's not just easy. And so that hard work was instilled in me in a different way, not necessarily having to get smacked in the side of the face with just like the reality of like how bad it could be. Like I had a good childhood and like, good parents, and they raised me really well. And so I'm very fortunate of that, but I also saw hard work.
Yeah.
So it gave me that perspective, but
And that has an impact on you as a kid, right? Because
Yeah,
you
I
see
mean,
that as like the norm. Like,
it shapes my everyday still.
dad's
to this
working
day.
hard, grandpa's working hard. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Nothing's given to you.
Yeah.
Everything is earned.
Where I
right?
think nowadays, kids just, most of their influence comes from the social media and the internet and YouTube and all that. And they get this like false reality or false perspective of what reality is.
Yeah.
And that's where you get those guys that, have the entitlement issues where,
That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
no one's gonna have anything if they don't go work. But if you go work and you put your head down, you're gonna have a way better chance of actually attaining something than in a place like Iraq or
Oh, yeah.
southern Mexico.
yeah, they had, the option of being a goat herder or an insurgent pretty much.
Totally.
Like,
Yeah, there's no choices. But when you grow up and you are surrounded by people that are doing stuff, that's the path that's gonna like let you find out how you're gonna be able to do stuff. Nothing's just given, but it's way easier to get it done here than anywhere else.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I think, it's funny the different ways, the different opportunities you have in states, right? Like for Jake, like, you with gymnastics and stuff, like to me, I think you probably learned hard work ethic through training and competitions, which is like you said, like over there, like overseas, those guys have like goat farmer as one of their options in this. Like it's
Right.
it's you don't have options. Life is going to be hard, and you're just going to be every day trying to survive. Whereas here, like I'm like telling Lindsay, I'm like, I don't think we should go to Starbucks today. Like we should save some money or whatever, right? Like, yeah, it's just a very, very different world. But so okay, so you're 21 overseas,
So-
do your tours.
Then did 2 tours and got out in 2008. 2008, like leaving the military, even after just 6 years, like you kind of lose your identity a little bit because you go from this routine of wake up in the morning, do PT, then you go to work for the day and do all the different stuff that the military requires.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's just like nothing. Like, all right, now I got to figure out how to do the civilian life.
Yeah.
And I struggled with that quite a bit. And then on top of, trying to figure out civilian life, for me, I kind of got in the mindset, like the victim mindset of, I've been to war, like I've seen all this traumatic shit. And I think that was, a lot of it was pushed on us from the VA. Like when I got back, they were like, oh, you need these meds and, you need to do all this therapy and stuff. And it started drilling more into my head, like, oh my God, I did all this awful things. And people you just talk to daily would be like, oh, thank you so much. I imagine it was so crazy over there. And I started kind of telling myself my own story of like how awful the things were that I experienced.
Okay.
And I started living in that like victim mentality. And I got real wrapped up again with like I was hooked on narcotic pain meds, like severely. To the point where I couldn't stop taking them without going into massive withdrawals. The VA had me on Klonopin or clonazepam, which is, it's a pretty heavy duty anxiety medication, but your body also becomes extremely dependent on it. So I took those for years and then, started drinking pretty heavy. And in 2010, tried to take my own life. Went to a hotel, bought a bunch of booze, freaking swallowed all my pills and blacked out. I don't remember doing it. But I called my mom and somehow she was able to relay to paramedics where I was. Like I was in a motel off of 7th Street. I have no idea how I was able to tell her how any of that went down, but I just remember being on the floor and having like paramedics over me, just a small glimpse of that. And then woke up 3 days later in Renown, someone jabbing me in the side with a needle. And that was one of my biggest like, oh shit moments. Like
Sure.
I almost was done. That was the end of it.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't meant to be, obviously, right? Just with how
Yeah.
it all worked out.
And it really like gave me that, like, I got to be here for a reason, right? Because everything that I took and all the alcohol that I drank, like, I should have been done for. So since that day, 2010, been clean and sober, which greatest thing for me. Like, I'm not one of those guys can like just have a beer and chill. It's like it touches my lips, and I'm like, all right, where's the 12 pack at? Like, where's the bottle at? Like, I'm gonna keep going until I'm blackout drunk or like running naked through the hills or getting arrested. Like,
Yeah.
I was one of those, so I just couldn't control it at all. And that's pretty much like for me, any substance that's like gives you that feel good feeling, or mind altering.
Yeah. So like, I'm assuming like, but replacing it with like fitness, working out. I mean,
Yeah.
because a lot of those things, right? You have that addictive personality, or you have that thing that you need to, I don't know, have some kind of high, right? And
Yeah.
at some points, right, it was like, I'm sure it was like being overseas, being on like 110 all the time,
Man, chasing
and then
the adrenaline.
chasing adrenaline, and then you know, to now, I mean, I'm sure you have those adrenaline chases and stuff when it comes down to, you know, policing, but I know a lot of other people just that have had that addiction side of things, right? You have to
replace
place
with,
it,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
you're putting a placeholder in that spot.
Yeah, and that's something like I was always interested in. Like I always wanted to be physically fit all the time. I mean, just when you think of someone that's masculine, right? Like they're physically fit, they're able to handle themselves. So
Yeah.
For me, that was. It took me a little while once I had sobered up to really get into it, but yeah, that was my placeholder or just took over for all the other addictions, and by far, like the best decision.
Hey, I hate to interrupt my own podcast with a HAViK ad, but I'm going to do it anyway. If you head over to spreadhavik.com, you can see all the different merch and gear that we're currently carrying. While you're there, sign up for HAViK Society and get email notifications on new drops, what we're doing with the community, and hunting, fishing, homesteading know-how, and more. Again, spreadhavik.com to get your gear today. Now, back to the podcast. All right, we're back, and Jake's been voted off the island. You know, he couldn't control his cough. That's what you get for having kids. So, so Jake's sick. It's going to be the three of us for the rest of this podcast, so we'll say hi to Dalton at a different time. Okay, so we're back to it. You know, we were actually in a pretty dark part of the podcast.
Things were getting better.
Yeah, you went through a tough period, right? And then on the backside of that, you know, obviously you came to a realization that you needed to fix everything sober. Kind of talk about how you got into the PD.
So once I, pretty much got all that crap out of my system and I was able to think straight and I started getting back into the physical fitness, I did a bunch of jobs in between, like everything from heavy equipment mechanic to a tattoo artist. I was a tattoo artist for a couple of years.
Did you do good work?
I mean,
did you tattoo yourself?
I do. I have that one right there that I did.
You did that one?
Yep. And I've got one on my leg that I did.
It'd be way more impressive if you did that one
Actually,
and you're left-handed.
You don't have any face tattoos though. I feel like that's like when you like are like
the guy that did my arms. He got his head tattooed, and he got his head tattooed by one of his mentors. He's a super like really talented tattoo artist and stuff. And he got a concussion each time he got his head tattooed. He literally blacked out just from the vibration, ended up getting the swelling like a concussion, got a concussion both times, 2 different sessions. Went into the second session knowing he was going to get a concussion from it. But his whole on top of his head's like tattooed.
you cannot finish that.
Well, Jesus. Well, you just grow your hair out.
No, though.
But yeah, I mean, he's tattooed down here and stuff. One of the, like, if you saw him on the streets, it's hard. Like him, I have a bunch of buddies that are tattoo artists and stuff. See him on the streets, like they look like in a dark alley. I wouldn't want to approach them. Yeah. some of the nicest
Oh,
guys
yeah.
I've ever met in my life. They both have daughters, which I think is funny. They're the best fathers. Like,
Just bought a tattoo kit and started tattooing on
did
myself.
you do an apprenticeship?
I
Or
did.
oh, okay.
So I did it at Stingray for a little bit, but I had owned a tattoo shop in Wyoming, Laramie, Wyoming. I lived there for a little while. And then
A tattoo shop in Laramie, Wyoming does
Yeah.
not sound like a good.
it's a college town. Yeah. And it was in an MMA gym. So tons of people that were coming in to, learn jujitsu and kickboxing and all that stuff. Like, oh, fuck, a tattoo
That's a
shop.
hell of a
Let me get a
combination.
fucking tattoo. Yeah.
That's a place I would get in trouble with. One of my addictions is definitely tattoos.
Yeah.
It's hard to hold back. Like, I got both my arms down and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm done. I'd get more in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like one of those things. If it was like jujitsu and tattoos, it'd be a hard place for me not to be at. So, all right. So so tattoo artist.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it, but at the same time, like sitting on my ass for 12 hours a day, like just wasn't doing it for me. So then I started doing security work at one of the casinos, which it was whatever, but I enjoyed kind of that same military kind of vibe, just having the camaraderie with the people there. And then moved over to Renown. But in the meantime, I had been applying for agencies for like 5 years. Just they weren't hiring a bunch. This was kind of after the financial deal in 2008. So they were hiring like ones and twos. So applied for 5 years, finally got hired on with Reno back in 2016. So I went to the academy, 36 years old, and yeah, I was definitely one of the old guys in that too.
Again, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, there was a dude that was like 59 years old that was going through the academy with me.
Huh.
He didn't last, but
No.
he was in
From
it for
a
all-
physical standpoint? Or you just
physically, yeah, he struggled a little bit, but I just think he wasn't doing it for the right reasons.
yeah, you're in with Reno PD and stuff. That's where you're at now.
Yeah.
And so I kind of, it's kind of wild, the ups and downs, that have come through and stuff. And I appreciate you kind of telling us all that and stuff. Where does precision resilience kind of fit into all of this picture?
This last year, back in December, so I'd been with the department for about 8 years, and one of my good buddies took his own life, and I was on duty at the time. He was one of our TEMS medics, so he was a medic for the SWAT team. I was on duty at the time and heard it come over the radio, and pretty much knew like right away that it was him. He did it at the REMSA station here in Reno, and went to the scene. And that one, like, really, like, I'd had friends from the military that had taken their own lives, but it was a lot different because I'd been out for years, and then you just kind of hear like, oh, this guy, took his own life. Like, it still sucks, but this was a guy that I was pretty close with, and hit me really hard to where it almost opened the floodgates for a lot of the stuff that I had been compartmentalizing for the last 8 years, like different calls I'd gone to and things that I'd seen and dealt with. And I really started to spiral, and as far as my mental health, like just depression, just isolating myself. So once like my brother was a big component to being like helping me pull myself out of it, and just he would get me out to go shooting, and then he kind of pushed me to like, hey, you're pretty good at this. Can you teach some of my buddies to, shoot pistol or rifle? And from that, I kind of got into the mindset of like wanting to teach firearms, but then also somehow I implement fitness and then the mental health side of things. Because in law enforcement, in the first responder community, like the mental health thing it's a pretty gnarly deal. Like, it's not really, it's probably talked about more nowadays, but it's still
not enough though.
Yeah, it's still, there's quite a bit of a stigma, like from inside the department. What I feel is, a lot of guys are not comfortable with talking about the stuff, which totally understandable, right? Because like we have to go call to call to call, and we just have to put that last call aside, whether it's, some kid that just got killed in a car accident or some domestic that we just dealt with where the women's like, beat up beyond belief. And then we just have to go to the next call, and we never get the opportunity to like process what we just dealt with. So it's just years of compartmentalizing or just stacking away all this stuff. Right. So then, like I said, when my buddy took his life, it was like all of it just came out. And the more I thought about it, like if I had been addressing that stuff as I had dealt with it, I think that it would have had less of an impact on me. So much so that like I wouldn't have been, I burned a shit ton of sick time just calling in sick to work because I didn't want to go deal with people and being, in my place just isolated.
Yeah.
So with Precision Resilience, I really wanted to bring to the forefront the mental health aspect of the first responder community, because it's not just law enforcement, right? It's, paramedics, fire, even dispatchers, like they get the calls of people screaming about people being shot or the things that are, going on. And then once we get on scene, right, like the phone just hangs up
And they don't know.
and they don't really have, any closure.
I never actually really thought about that. Yeah. I never really actually thought about that. Like that disconnect the second the phone's off.
Yeah. And I talked to a few dispatchers. My business partner, Amanda, she had worked in dispatch before she got on with law enforcement. And that's, one of the things that she had expressed is, you hear all this awful stuff going on that people are calling about. And then unless, you message or know that cop that dealt with whatever happened or even have time to do it.
Yeah.
Like you're never going to know what the outcome was.
Huh.
So, and I could imagine, for a dispatcher, just hearing that stuff all day long, that's going to be in your dreams. That's going to be, stuff that messes with you. So
Totally. Yeah. Cause the hardest part with a lot of those roles, right, is you're dealing with people literally on their worst day of their life. Right. So you're getting a phone call from a person on their worst day of their life and you have no idea what happens to it. Right. Or like you guys are showing up to something that's most likely one of the worst days of their life. Right. And then you're, like you said, you're not having that time to process and stuff. So with Precision Resilience, right, so you have a couple different layers to the company, right?
Yeah.
You have the firearms training, which maybe you can talk about a little bit.
So it started out with the firearms training. So I know for me, like getting out on the range and just being able to take my mind off of all the other stuff that's rattling around in there and just focusing on, my trigger squeeze, my sight alignment, all that stuff. Like that it's got its mental health benefits to it, just like kind of we had talked about jujitsu, right? Like having that something that really gets you to just completely remove yourself from the day to day, all the stressors that you have.
Disconnect a little bit, yeah.
So
I think it's funny because on those, right, you're disconnected, but your brain, I think, is processing the stuff that it needs to process, right?
Yeah.
It's like counterintuitive, right? Where you think like, oh, that's a distraction. Like actually, it's kind of the opposite. Like for me, like jujitsu is like a new one for me, but like hunting is a big one. I used to race cars, right? All of those are like huge disconnects, but I come out of it calmer and I'm able to process the thing much more effectively on whatever I'm having to do, whether it's stress from my job or, trying to hit family obligations or whatever.
I think it's just getting rid of all that like negative energy, being able to, push all that off, and then you can kind of work through it afterwards.
Yeah, I do like that, the energy thing. That's why I definitely like believe in that. Like there's different frequencies in which people oscillate at, right? And there's positive frequencies and there's negative ones. And if you're thinking positively and you're putting out good positive, frequency, then a lot of that stuff bounces back for you and stuff. And if you get in that negative mindset and stuff, it comes to get you for sure.
Yeah. And that's, like I talked about earlier with when I first got out of the military, it was just that like negative energy, the negative self-talk, all that. And then I was just bringing that right back on myself, because that's what you're putting out to the universe is what you're going to get back.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and then of course, adding in the physical fitness part of it, because with firearms, like it is somewhat of an athletic, like you need to be agile and kind of in tune with your body to be able to draw quickly or to be able to hold the gun steady, to be able to, have a solid trigger press. So being in tune with your body by just, getting out and exercising 5 days a week, doing whatever. So incorporated that into it. And I think the fitness and the mental health really go hand in hand, because like it's so much easier for your brain to be healthy and functioning properly if your body is in a good place. So, for me, for a long time before I got into fitness, like I was eating fast food and not doing anything, putting garbage in. And garbage is going to come back out, right? Like
I think if you're also working out and stuff, you're putting, time and effort into yourself, right? Which is a positive thing, right? You're trying to take care of yourself, right? And so you're putting, again, that positive vibe out there. I know for me, like there's days that you don't want to work out, or like I think I posted on Instagram, me like climbing the mountain the other day, right? It's like I just didn't have time to get it in, but then I knew that I needed to both. That one was more mental than it was physical. But like I needed to go just put in like sweat and be by myself and just like hear my own breathing for a minute and stuff and just, I don't know, exert myself in a different way. Doing that in like a repetitive and more consistent manner, I think gives yourself something positive to like latch on to, like to hook into. It's a thing that you can control, which I think is really important. Like sometimes I think people spiral, especially me, on just like things that I can't control.
Right.
Yeah, you feel like you're like, oh man, like I can't, like I'm not going to get this done, or I like things that you just literally can't change. But like working out or like doing something for yourself like that, it's something you can control. Yeah. And I tell a lot of people, like when they're trying to get in that groove on like working out, I'm like, do it in the morning. Like if you can try to do it first thing in the morning, you have the most control of your day. You're not going to let something get in the way. Like you're going to be able to prioritize that. You make it so that you've already done something for yourself before you even walk out the door.
Yeah. Well, and beyond that, like, if you try to do it at the end of the day, it's so easier to start stacking excuses as you get towards that time you're supposed to work
you're
out.
Hungry.
Yep. I just don't have time now. Like, all the excuses start stacking up where, man, you wake up in the morning. Yeah. And then plus just building that, doing the physical fitness as a routine, you're building that discipline too, right? Mm-hmm. So there's so many advantages to it.
Yeah, there's like layers there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're healthier, right? Which is great, but then there's all these other layers and stuff that come from it that you don't even realize the benefits from it. And then you get yourself beat down enough that you have to go see Bobby.
And you're gonna
get fixed. I went in for like the first time and got worked on by Bobby last week in a very long time.
That's probably like 2 years.
Yeah. It's probably been 2 years.
Well, it's for sure hard to go see him regularly.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't forgot about the last session already,
it gets easier though.
Does it?
Yeah, it's like
you tell me that if you're the one on the table.
You should see the shit I do to myself.
We bought like a cupping set and stuff, and Lindsay and I just like we just work on each other and stuff as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, the more you do that kind of stuff though, it like desensitizes you to like everything on the table. If you wait a while, it's like the first time every time.
Yeah. I can see that because I'm pretty horrible. Like I will get so caught up with other stuff. Like I'll do the workout, then I'm like, all right, I need to do like the mobility and the stretching stuff, and I'm like, I just don't have time right now.
Yeah, I'm so bad about it too.
Like the mobility side's boring. Like the fitness side's like you get to do something new. You're following some plan. Like it's like if you get that part done, like the fitness side, it's like everyone just stacks their day so like hard in one direction. If you actually make time to go exercise, like you almost feel guilty for doing too much for yourself. I feel like the mobility kind of always gets shelved until you're like in enough pain to where it's like causing you dysfunction.
True.
And it's
or for me, like I was like literally getting like migraines from it.
Yeah.
Like-
Your posture was so like in like such a compromised position though. It's like,
Screw you, Bobby.
bro, you know, like
I
he was like
that.
chin to chest, but he's like at a computer or working on equipment all day.
Right.
So it's like his back is just off, and then like
Yeah.
by the time like everything like starts to like stack up and you see the effects of that when you're not using a huge portion of your body to support yourself, you're just like borrowing from Steve to pay Peter.
Right.
You're never gonna balance it out.
Peter
Yeah.
Paul.
Peter, Paul, Kevin, John.
Yeah, I don't know where
Same
Steve came
difference.
I don't care who it is. You don't know who I borrow from.
from. Yeah, I wouldn't borrow from Steve.
Yeah.
I don't know any Steves.
Yeah,
Well, I know like since I turned 45, man, like now I'm making more of an attempt every day before I exercise to do a lot of like hip mobility stuff. Cause if I don't do it, man, I feel it afterwards for sure. So, but I need to do like more of the foam rolling and all that. Cause
It's like the simple, boring stuff that like you can just carve out 15 minutes of that.
yeah,
But you don't. It's like if your back like yard looks like shit and you go spend 3 hours, like you are satisfied. You're like, this looks great. But with mobility, it's like if you're doing it every day, you don't notice anything, but you're not
True.
noticing the pain. So the association with the task is like kind of backwards.
yeah, that makes sense.
that's all it's about. Yeah. So, so we have firearms training. You have the fitness side of things, and then with that mental health and stuff, like we've talked about it a couple of times and stuff. That at the end of those workouts and stuff, you try to bring that mental health aspect into it when people are a little bit-
So what we were doing, or what we've been doing, is we'll do group workouts. So they're free. I just, we'll go to a park and I'll advertise it on social media. And then whoever wants to come out, we'll do a 45-minute workout. And then kind of the idea behind it is trauma bonding, right? So you just did a really hard workout with all these people. And then I'll try to have like a topic to discuss, whether it's in regards to like mental health or just life in general. And people are more willing to open up about things, like kind of let their guard down a little bit because you just did this hard workout and endorphins are going and all that stuff.
I think that's why like CrossFit worked so well, right? Is you build that community and that trust in each
Right.
other and stuff.
Yeah.
You're doing something hard with each other. Yeah. So it's cool to bring that mental health into that same type of mindset, right? Where like, well, let's instead of like just cheering, like let's talk about some serious shit or something like that, or just like give the opportunity to get something off your chest that is weighing you down, kind of thing.
Yeah. So while we would do stretching after the workout, and
good.
while we're doing that, I would, bring up some kind of topic, whatever it was, just, example, like judging other people or when you don't know what's going on in their lives. Like, I think we get real wrapped up in what we see on social media and immediately like judging, like, oh, this person's got this going on. Like they think they're so great or whatever.
Or the opposite, right? Where it's that keeping up with the Joneses thing, right? Where you feel like everybody's leaving you behind, but they're putting on a front because they don't want to look like they're struggling. And it makes you know what I mean? Like it's just this whole like spiraling thing, right? Where I think a lot of people like try to do something only because they feel like Steve is doing so well. And they're like, how in the hell is Steve doing so well? Like when I'm over here struggling.
Right. When in reality, it's
Steve's
just
not doing
an
good either.
illusion,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because everybody's posting their highlights. No one wants to post. a lot of
exactly.
the
Posting their
garbage that
highlights
goes
and they're
on.
in massive credit card debt.
Yeah, but we've been working on like something pretty big that, I can't really say too much about it, but
Yeah.
we're working on right now where hopefully early next year or even the middle of next year, we're going to have our own facility with gym, cold plunge, sauna, all kinds of good
Amazing.
stuff. Probably have like an indoor shoot house, not a live fire one, but a mat room, all kinds of stuff. So it's in the works, and we're going to involve mental health side of things too. So it's pretty exciting.
It's really great.
Have people keep an eye on our Instagram and our website. Should hopefully have more on it here soon. But I think with this, we should really be able to, it's primarily going to be for the veteran and first responder community, but it's going to be open to civilians also. But I think we'll be able to reach a lot of people and be able to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because I know, especially after, my buddy Patrick took his own life. And then earlier this year, we had another officer, Ernie Kazmar, that took his own life. It's very obvious that there is a mental health epidemic in the first responder community.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to do a different way of addressing it by implementing the physical fitness side of it, and then adding the actual mental health component to it, with some firearm stuff.
Yeah.
And it should be, I'm really hoping it'll be something that we can help a lot of people.
Well, I think one thing that we can talk a lot about, I know you're trying to put together precision resilience and stuff on the big picture and stuff. So we'll definitely have you on again once you're more established and stuff there and can share more. But one thing that we can talk about is just us at HAViK in you and precision resilience trying to team up for that exact message, right? We care very much about that as well, even though we're not necessarily part of that first responder community. I care that those people are there for us and stuff, and I want to essentially help in any way we can. And so one thing that we're trying to put together right now is a first responder of the month, in which we can try to bring light to the guys and gals that are essentially out there on that front line every single day. I think how we're building it right now, when this podcast comes out, it should be launched. So, timing's everything, right, Dom? But, I guess that puts all the pressure on Dom. So get it done, Dom. But the goal is that we're definitely partnering up on that. I know you guys are going to sponsor it. We have a handful of other sponsors that are going to come on board and stuff, but it's a way in which, the public, anybody can nominate a first responder, and we can get them some recognition. And then there'll be a little voting process on which the public can go on to the website, vote for, who they want to win that first responder of the month. There'll be a message and stuff, and we'll have a great essentially giveaway to those that are essentially nominated up and are part of the voting process. I know you're going to be helping out with that. For us, we're going to be donating knives and t-shirts and all sorts of different things that we have underneath our house. But then a big portion of that is just sharing that these guys are here, right? Yeah. I think it's really obvious that we can go on that everyday thing. And we talked about it earlier, that perspective point of view, where I'm out here at my house working in my shop every day, and you got, like I said, guys and gals that are going out there and seeing stuff, and that weight weighing them down. We need to be recognizing that community and what they do for us, because without them, shit would fall apart, right? They literally, that's a glue that holds.
Could you imagine if you called 911 and nobody answered, right? And I think
there's certain days that I kind of wish certain people actually did get that, right. But
there are those that definitely overuse it.
Well, they need that reality check or that perspective, but or just don't appreciate the value in which that phone number and stuff,
right?
That gets you, right? Because as much as you think that you don't need it, there'll be a day that you probably do, and you're going to be very grateful that those people are there for you.
Dude, it'll be so. This first responder of the month thing is, and we're including dispatchers and EMS, all of it. Which I don't know about the dispatch world, but I know that. In law enforcement, if guys go to a really crazy call and do something amazing, they get recognized with an award. But there are really crazy calls all the time that fire and REMSA and law enforcement are going to, and there's no recognition. It's you're just doing your job.
Yeah.
So having this and having people be able to nominate folks for stories that maybe have never been told.
Yeah.
I think that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
And to be able to, give them that plaque and their recognition.
Exactly. Yeah. I want to show that we see them, and that, I think our little, saying or slogan and stuff is that they have our backs and we have their backs. Right. And that's really the big goal is it's going to cost nothing to nominate anybody. There's no monetary value. We're going to just essentially have a big reward for, trying to see that recognition go out to those individuals. I'm really, really excited about it, because especially with starting a company for me, and I think it's the same thing for you, is like there needs to be a greater purpose to it in the background, right? Like trying to like make a difference other than just making a dollar. And I think that this is a great way in which we can give back to our community and grow, and grow that awareness. So I'm really excited about that part.
Yeah, dude, I'm stoked for it. So we'll offer up things like, free private lessons, whatever they want to learn, whether it's pistol, rifle, close quarters combat, anything in that regards, or even, free fitness. So I do personal training for guys. I've got several clients right now that I get them ready for law enforcement tests, for SWAT tests, stuff like that, or even just, civilians that want to get in shape and kind of improve their mindset on things. So that's another thing that we'll throw out there.
Yeah, I love it. Like I said, I mean, you coming from that community and stuff, I really appreciate you, jumping on board and stuff and helping us do what we're trying to do with
it's
that.
a great idea, man. I'm stoked to be a part of it.
I've been thinking about it for a long time and stuff. And then we finally met and stuff. And when we left that conversation, I was just like, man, I think that this is like a person that I think could help me kind of get this to fruition and stuff
for sure
in the background. So
I think it's a great way to highlight people in the community. And I mean, we're going to be like doing this for people outside of Renum also. So it's like, just letting people's friend groups kind of like put them on blast and show. And I think it's really nice getting like your circle to like push your name out with whatever you're doing.
It's just that recognition. I think for a person that maybe thinks that they're a little bit alone, right? To be like nominated and then put up for voting and stuff, to me, it's just like us saying like, hey, like we see you.
And it'd be nice to have a change, like not getting recognition from just the department for doing something, insanely crazy, but getting recognition from someone in the community, I think is really fucking cool.
I want to give recognition to the police or to the EMS or to the dispatchers, right? I mean, we talked about it earlier about like, dispatchers have something that I've never even thought about before, where they get on that call and they just never understand what happened, right? The call ends and, first responders are there, but like that dispatcher dealt with that situation for could have been a very long time.
Oh yeah. They talk people through, like if someone's dying in front of them, like trying to calm them down while getting information. And man, it's gotta be stressful.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, I mean, they're definitely like, that's on the list of, people that should be recognized for what they're doing. Right. I'm really, really excited about that partnership. I'm really, really excited about Precision Resilience and what you have kind of cooking up in the background. I guess, first of all, like how can people reach out to Precision Resilience or like get to know you guys better?
Yeah, so we've got our website, which is precision-resilience.com. We've got all our firearms training on there. We've got classes out till, I want to say like March timeframe, but we're looking at setting up some pretty cool ones. I've got a buddy that was an Army sniper for 10 years, and then he was a Marine recon sniper for 10 years. So he's going to be helping us run a little recce course, probably a 2-day deal. That'll probably be coming out this like spring.
Awesome.
So that'll be fun. And we do everything from, like I said, pistol, rifle, CQB, long range precision stuff.
What if somebody doesn't have a firearm? Can they still?
Yes, we had a carbine course, rifle course recently where a guy was thinking about getting one.
Sure.
So I just rented one to him. We rent the rifle to him, and then they buy the ammo from us. So they just pay for the course and the rental, and they can just come out and learn.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Ears? You guys supply ears, or do people need to bring ears?
Head
ear protection.
Yeah. So we recommend that they bring it, but I've always got spares just in case, because there's always someone that forgets ear protection or eye protection.
Eye protection. Yeah.
So we've always got extras on hand.
Where are you guys doing most of these classes?
Right now we're doing them at the Nevada Firearms Academy. So that pyramid range out there, which that works best for us because we do a lot of female specific classes. So we'll do women's pistol classes just so that they feel a little bit more comfortable. We've got my partner, Amanda, who teaches those. Like she's awesome with teaching pistol. And I know for a lot of females, I mean, I couldn't put myself in their shoes, but I imagine
do it.
It's, I know Bobby has.
Yeah.
I am
soft.
gonna tear you to pieces next time I see you. You're
Small
mouthy
feet.
as shit.
But no, for them, it's, it's intimidating coming out and you've got some dude that's like dressed up in tactical gear and, high speed. And it's probably intimidating to come
And then,
learn.
yeah, the girl in Lululemon.
Right.
Yeah.
So having my partner Amanda out there teaching, like we've had a lot of success with that. Just the basic pistol courses for women.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool that you had like that private lesson versus group, and then like female only. I know you guys did that class not too long ago and stuff. I think you guys are really recognizing what kind of holds people back from doing those kind of training programs, right? Because like that insecurity or the uneasy of kind of going into those situations sometimes makes people just not sign up. But you give them the opportunity to be like, hey, if you're brand new, right, we can help you. All you have to do is buy the ammo, come out for the private lesson until they get more confident where they can come out to a group lesson or, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And I mean, our prices, I would say compared to stuff that I've seen across the country, like are pretty decent in comparison. So
sure.
And then we've got our social media, which is the Instagram. It's precision_resilience. That's where we post a lot of our, like the group workouts. I'll post in the stories where the group workout's going to be, what time, what day. And then we've got some of our more like in-depth stories where me and Amanda kind of go into some things that we've dealt with. And then we'll have other stuff on there like instructional or just real short videos, like teaching people how to do something with either firearms. And we're going to start working in like medical stuff just so we can put more information out into the community. Cause
it's awesome.
Always good things to know, right? Like how to put on a tourniquet and stuff like that.
So we were talking, I have a buddy that's on the medical side of the fire department down in Gardnerville. I think he's going to be a guest on the podcast, but he was talking about doing like a stop the bleed type class with us just to do that tourniquet type of like, if you go out hiking or you're hunting or whatever, like you should definitely have a tourniquet on you. Like it's
probably even in the
biggest,
car, man. Like if you get in a car accident, like especially out here where you live, and no one's going to be responding for a while, like you want to be able to slap a tourniquet on you or a family member, and knowing how to do it, that's huge.
When you think it's tight, it's probably not tight enough. It's definitely. I have tourniquets and stuff in the ambulance and stuff that we converted into the RV out there and stuff. So when we're out there in the middle of nowhere, right? Because I think about that a lot. Like go hunting and stuff in Nevada, especially like bow hunting. Like it's one of like a really common injury. Bow hunting is like literally getting an arrow in your leg. Like just. It's crazy. It's crazy how often it happens and stuff. Because
was it like ricocheting off something or?
Well, a lot of there's been a handful of cases in which a guy's like literally like walking through bushes and an arrow's in those bushes from like a previous year's hunt, and like they've had arrows go in their legs. But if your bow is knocked, but you're like cutting through something, sometimes it'll fall off that thing and come back and get you. They're just so sharp that it doesn't take any pressure for them to actually enter your leg or your
especially
anything,
if you hit that femoral artery and you're out in the middle of nowhere. It's a scary deal
stuff. And then a lot of guys will end up cutting themselves actually butchering the animal in the field, right? So they're skinning or something like that, and they pull back towards themselves and they'll get themselves in the leg or something. You just get in such weird situations, or if there's two guys skinning an animal, like my brother and I just did an elk like a week ago. And like me and him have done it so much together, and that like I'm not really worried about it. But like a newer person, they get to putting too much pressure on the knife and it slips, and you're holding it. And, you can get cut super easy. So just having that kind of like first aid knowledge.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in that one, we were 6 miles in the wilderness, so it was kind of no joke. Where like you get hurt back there.
Yeah. There's a good chance you won't make it out.
Yeah, you're getting a helicopter ride or something probably.
Yeah. So, well, cool. Let me know if you guys put that class on. I'd like to come check it out.
Yeah, I think I got to talk to him a little bit more. Like he's really interested in doing it. I don't know if we're going to do it just as like a YouTube video to start or what we're going to do with there, but
sweet.
He reached out to me the other day and I thought it was a great idea. So
cool.
So Gabe, so Instagram, website, precision-resilience.com.
Yep.
And go check that out. I really appreciate you coming.
Man, I appreciate you guys having me out.
We'll have you back on when you get a little bit further.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
Good
Thanks, man.
times. Thank you.
All right, that's a wrap for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in and surviving another hour of our nonsense.
Seriously, if you loved it, hit subscribe, follow, and leave us a review.
And if you hated it, still leave a review. We need validation, good or bad.
And don't forget to check us out on Instagram @SpreadHAViK for behind the scenes madness, terrible ideas, and moments where we actually get it right.
And make sure you sign up for HAViK Society, where we're dropping new episodes and other stuff that makes us sound way cooler than we actually are.
Oh, and tell a friend or an enemy. Seriously, make them listen. If they hate it, just blame us.
We've got some seriously great guests lined up, so buckle up. It's going to be a ride.
Until next time, stay curious, stay uncomfortable,
And keep spreading havoc.